Hello students and family members. Today we're talking about metric capacity, or the capacity of measuring liquid. In this case, we're going to talk about the metric system. In metric capacity, there are two main units in which we measure how much liquid can fit into an object. One is liters, and two is milliliters. As we've been talking about, we need to know which one is the greater unit and which one is the smaller unit to see if we can determine which would be the best estimate when determining how much liquid goes into objects. So in this case, let's take a look at the word liters. We measure large things in liters. Large liters, let's just spell it out. The L in liters should remind you of the L in large to remember that I'll measure things that would go into liters of bottles of soda, in swimming pools, or in big bathtubs. You want to measure the capacity when using the metric system in liters if they are larger units of measurement for capacity, which would mean milliliters is just a real small unit of capacity measurement. It's about a drop. A drop of water would be equivalent to 1 milliliter. An eyedropper of medicine would be equivalent to 1 milliliter. So in this case, we don't really need to get into the conversions just yet, but we should know the numbers. 1,000 milliliters equals 1 liter. I always like to use the example of soda, because many of us understand that 2-liter bottles of soda are common. So if I'm talking about a 1-liter bottle of soda, that would be like taking 1,000 little soda pop bubbles and counting them up, and those would be my milliliters. So the soda pop bubbles, the small bubbles inside the milliliters, would be the milliliters, and the big bottle of soda would be that liter bottle the entire time. So when converting liters to milliliters, all you have to do is put 3 zeros in its place. And then what you're really doing is multiplying by 1,000, which we'll talk about later when we get into converting units of measurement. But for now, just understand that 1,000 tiny soda pop bubbles are your milliliters, and they equal 1 liter bottle of Coke, which is your big, full bottle. Let's take a little bit more of a closer look. In talking about metric capacity, we're talking about measuring things that can fit liquid inside of it, whether it be bottles or tubs or cereal bowls, whatever. That would be metric capacity. So today you're going to learn how to estimate metric units of capacity to determine the appropriate measurement of capacity for everyday objects. Capacity, the amount of dry or liquid that a container can hold. A milliliter, as we mentioned, was a small unit of measurement for capacity. A metric unit used to measure capacity, which would be 1,000 milliliters, equals 1 liter. A liter is the larger unit of measurement when it comes to capacity. A metric unit used for measuring capacity, which is 1 liter, which is equal to 1,000 milliliters. That's what we discussed on the previous slides. So an eyedropper holds about 10 drops of water. That's equivalent to 1 milliliter. This water bottle holds about 1 liter of water. So if we use liters to measure larger amounts of capacity, we just need to remember that 1,000 drops of water fit into about a 1 liter bottle of water or soda. So if 1,000 milliliters equals 1 liter, then 2,000 milliliters is going to equal 2 liters. And 5,000 milliliters is going to equal 5 liters. 7,000 is going to equal 7 liters. And the reverse could be true as well. 3,000 milliliters is equal to 3 liters. 4,000 milliliters is equal to 4 liters. So how many milliliters is equal to 9 liters? You've got it. 9,000 milliliters. Once again, that's like taking the liters and multiplying it by 1,000, which is what we did in all 3 examples here. Let's continue. The capacity of which everyday objects are being measured. So in this case, if I'm talking about the small units like an eyedropper or medicine or things that would go into cereal bowls, going on the milliliter side, I'm talking more about jugs of gasoline, tubs, and sinks on the large side for liters. those would be the most common units or things that you would measure on either one of these sides. Here are a couple more examples that we can try and answer correctly. Let's see if you can circle or move the correct answer. Water in a fish tank. What would be the best unit of measurement for capacity? 50 milliliters, our smaller unit, or 5 liters for the fish tank? If you said 5 liters, you would be correct, because 5 liters would measure larger amounts of capacities, and fish tanks can be pretty big. How about perfume bottle? The amount of perfume in a perfume bottle, 250 milliliters or 25 liters? In this case, I'd go with the smaller unit of capacity measurement, which would be 250 milliliters, because we're talking about droplets of perfume in here. How about gasoline? Gasoline in a tank, 5 milliliters or 5 liters? Again, when we're talking about larger units of capacity, like in a gasoline tank, we would use liters. 5 liters is my answer. Food in a large crock-pot container. My answer here would be 10 liters. Notice that I said large crock-pot. So of course, we're talking large, we're talking liters. Finally, medicine in a spoon. Would we measure that with 2 milliliters or 2 liters? In this case, we would measure it with our smaller unit of study or unit of capacity, 2 milliliters. So you'll have some opportunities to practice this a little bit more as we continue. But the thing I want you to know, the thing you need to understand is right here. Milliliters is small. 1,000 milliliters equals 1 liter, and a liter is large because 1 liter is 1,000 milliliters. Thanks. I hope this video helps as you continue to practice on your own.